hatred and trapped by fear. I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need.
Peace and love, family. Welcome to the N.E.P.C. podcast. This is U.S. political prisoners and you. My name is Brother Frank, and I'm a former political prisoner. Today's episode, we focus on the tragedy of Marcellus Williams. You know, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And what do we do from here? Well, it happened because we have yet to acquire enough power to make the state not do what it's going to do. We should have learned from what happened on with Muma, Abu Jamal's situation, when Muma was scheduled to be executed on August 17th, Marcus Garvey's birthday. And the people organized so intensely that the state had no choice but to listen to the people. Why was this example not followed with Marcellus Williams? Today, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we need to honor this brother who now is a martyr, who stood on principle, because as the brother Hawk told me, Khalifa means leader. So the brother was a leader in terms of him standing on principle, and he claimed his innocence to his very end. So we got to honor him. We got to honor him in practice and deeds. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get to the business of our conversation. Let's talk about what happened, and let's talk about why it happened. So, Brother Abdul Haq Islam, you know, talk to the people about this tragedy and the fact that what can be worse than this tragedy is us not learning from the tragedy.
Yeah, peace and love, brothers and sisters out there. As we struggle in here in the belly of the beast, our big focus is on justice, you know, and we look at cases such as that of Marcellus Williams, Brother Khalifa, and we look at the particulars in the case, you understand, and you know, this becomes part of our history of lessons learned, you know, gives us a blueprint, you know, how to move forward. There were many injustices in the brother's case, you know. For one thing, 5 black people were removed from the jury, replaced by 5 white folks, you know. The DNA evidence in the case, you know, Brother Khalifa's DNA was not found in any place in the crime scene. The knife that was left in the neck of the victim, you know, had somebody else's DNA on it. Hair particles found at the scene of the crime did not match his DNA. The footprint in the blood did not match his DNA. So, you know, it was, you know, the forensics, you know, there was no forensic evidence whatsoever linking this brother to the crime. However, you know, 5 races can hear this on a jury, and you know, it don't mean nothing to them, you know. Also, a factor in the conviction was incentivized testimony. Incentivized testimony means people testifying for reward or to save their own skin, you know. And in 14% of murder case convictions, it is incentivized testimony is a factor. One witness, Mr. Cole, was a known liar. You know, his family confirmed he was a liar, you know, and he testified. You know, he was rewarded $5,000 to testify, and he he testified claiming that Brother Khalifa talked to him about the crime and told him that he did the crime. That's something similar in my case, where Smith, tried to save his own skin, trying to get it cut loose from his case, did the same thing to me. However, I was found not guilty in the case, in a similar way, facts come out now, even after his death, proving his innocence, Laura, let me say, Asaro, this is a woman, who testified, against him, and her testimony conflicted with this Mr. Cole's testimony, and these factors, such as the factors of the DNA not matching Brother Khalifa's, the court never heard that, but the governor knew about it. The first governor involved in the case, gave him a stay of execution. The other governor, in fact, and in spite of knowing all these details in the case, set a date for his execution, and he was executed.
I want to address the normalizing of this injustice, because one of the questions that raised to me was that, what was going on in the prison system, right? Where was the hunger strikes as an outrage against this injustice, right? Why he was, we had a date for him to be executed, no work stoppage. What happened to the prison uprising? That means that there's a lack of consciousness in the prison industrial complex system. I know,
and in the streets.
And yes, and then exactly, and
raising all kinds of sand.
It doesn't require a whole bunch of people. The Black Panther Party started off with 2 people, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, and it grew to thousands. And we have to let people know about that, because obviously it's October, it's Black Panther Party month, and we have to look at what's been going on amongst our people in terms of our consciousness developing and our ability to organize, because that's the only way that we're going to change our current situation. And we have to accept the reality that the state doesn't have no compassion for us. An innocent man was killed, despite people saying he was innocent. Despite that, it wasn't enough of us saying that he was innocent. We were supposed to all been waving that flag. We were supposed to all been committed to some type of demonstration, some interruption of daily activities that were going on, and the people should have been made aware of his name. I know we were at the General Assembly, and yet I didn't see no pictures of him anywhere. That should have been brought to the international community as something that was going on in a particular country, and that's something that needed to be addressed there to a number of people. So now when this country declares itself to be at a certain standard, now you look at this particular situation and say, well, what happened there? Why is that happening over there, and why is it keeps happening to those people who look like that? We got to use every opportunity. We got to be creative with fighting against injustice and demanding that justice is present, right? Because it continues to threaten our peace as long as it allowed to exist. But there's always actions that we could take, but we have to learn from what others did around getting Mumia Abu Jamal off of execution, right? We got to ask the people, what did you do? Where were you at? And how did you feel when you gained that victory? And we have to be inspired by those victories. And that's why when we come on this platform, we know it's important for us to show you books that you need to have on hand, books that you need to have in your library, right? Because you'll learn about the Panther 21 by talking to some of them who are still around, people like Sundiata Acoli. And then you talk, Jamal Joseph, you talk to them about their experiences and what advice that they could give you in terms of organizing people. And you make sure that your library is equipped with those books that you need to have to educate yourself and educate the people around you, because it's through raising your consciousness that you're going to know that you can do something. And that's one of the things that I love about Mumia Abu Jamal, because he has written a number of books that deal with the society that we're living in. and these books educate us on what we need to be doing and why, right? Because the system does not reform itself. It only tightens its grip on oppressive people. So we have to be clear about that. We got to be very honest, and we got to ask ourselves, what world do we want those who come after us to inherit? So the injustice on this particular brother needs to really be looked upon. You know, he's a martyr now, and we got to honor our political prisoners and our martyrs the same way. We got to fight strong for the political prisoners to come home, and we got to fight strong for our martyrs not to be forgotten, right? Because today we're talking about this brother, and tomorrow we'll be talking about somebody else, and the day after somebody else, because the system is going on. And then you have a number of distractions that are happening, right? Because while we're talking about this, you might hear about Puff Daddy, new sexual allegation comes around, and all of a sudden you're getting thrown off what you need to be focused on, you know, and all of us have to question our discipline. And, you know, when we get sidetracked, we got to commit ourselves more to being disciplined, be focused, so that the brother Marcellus Khalifa Williams is not forgotten. And all our political prisoners, brothers like Ronald Reed, Fred Muhammad Burton, Mumia Abu Jamal, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, Abdul Aziz, Malik Bey, Joseph Bowen, Kojo Bamani Sababu, Kamal Siddiqui, Joy Powell, Leonard Peltier, Hanif Shabazz Bey. We got to give their names life by saying their names. Brother Abdul Haq Islam, what was your position on, you know, this whole situation that's going on and how it relates to the work of people fighting for their self-determination?
Well, I mean, you look at the news every day, you see the nature of the system that we live under. You know, right now, you know, innocent people are being murdered, you know, in Palestine. You know, the U.S., the arms industry, you know, they're making big money off of death, you know. So, you know, this stuff is completely evil. So, you know, when a person, a political prisoner comes you know, into a courtroom governed by some folks like this, you know, we can't be going around here, you know, with a red, white, and a blue brain, you know, believing in this garbage, you know, because, you know, they prove over and over and over again their true nature, you know. So one thing I want to share with the folks with respect to Brother Khalifa is some of his poetry, you know. It is said that the blood of the martyrs rise up against the enemy as a weapon, you know, and likewise the words of the martyrs rise up, you understand, to expose the reality, you know, of the true nature, the essence of what's going on, the essence of what we're living in. So I'm gonna play a little poem that the brother wrote that talks about some of the atrocities and the war crimes that these people commit. So, you know, part of his principles, you know, was not killing women, children, and babies, depriving people of food or water, you know, bombing medical facilities, schools, and stuff like this, which is happening every day. So this opponent talks about all this. So one way we can protest, you know, the injustice that happened to this brother was to share these words and to share the knowledge of the crimes committed, you know, by the biggest mass murderers in the history of the world. Okay, so I hope this idiotic device works like it's supposed to. Punch here, come on.
So while the brother gets that poem together, so we could look at it and talk about it and have a clear understanding about who this martyr was in terms of what he stood on, and be inspired to follow that example by standing on principles of ourselves. Let us take notes of political prisoners' addresses so that we can write them. I'm still waiting on a letter from Ronald Reed so that I can share it with the viewers, so I can be inspired to continue to fight to bring him home and people like him home, because I know that it's based on the quality of work that I committed myself to in terms of individual and the collective. because one of the things that we were able to do when we got a letter, an open letter from Joy Powell, is presented to the community of Queensbridge. We did it at the third vegan festival in Queensbridge that was on the courtyard in Queensbridge, and it was displayed for community. I encouraged a number of people to take pictures and to share it. After that, I had it displayed in an area of Queensbridge that's called The Hill. It was displayed for some time before it was removed. I would think that it was moved by those working for NYCHA. But anyway, you know, we don't get deterred or get uninspired by that action. We know that we have to do what we have to do on our end. We have to continue to do the work, let the community know that there is somebody, or there are some people who are in prison because they chose to stand up to this system, the system that is vicious, the system that has been vicious for decades, for centuries now. And because they've done what they've done in terms of fighting back, now they've been presented with these lengthy sentences. And this open letter did that. It brought a name of somebody to a community. Today, the name that is brought to the community is the execution of this innocent brother, Marcellus Williams. We cannot forget about him. We got to learn who he is more through his words, and we have to put it to practice on our end.
Tonight, Missouri executed innocent man Marcellus Williams. DNA found on the murder weapon did not match Williams. It matched another man. The prosecutor, jurors, and victim's family opposed the execution. He wrote a poem, The Perplexing Smiles of the Children of Palestine. Despite the actions of the few and excessive retaliation, drones, planes, bombs, tanks, rubble, buildings demolished, vanished houses and neighborhoods, hospitals targeted, UN shelters disrespected, murder, death, deliberate killing of non-combatants, babies buried alive, amputations, hunger and political starvation, lack of or no water, strategic sanitation, daily terror and terrorized daily, military maneuvering, moving here and there to return back again to nowhere, trauma with all its manifestations, defiance to the realization of two nations, global amnesia, siblings and relatives gone forever, parental worries in the face of apex ignorance, and ethnic cleansing by any definition. Still your laughter can be heard, and somehow you are able to smile, O resilient children of Palestine.
Okay, so there it is. To play it back or to access other poems by the brother, you know, look him up. Marcellus Williams, Brother Khalifa. You know, those were some of his ideas in that poem. You know, against killing women, children, and non-combatants in the war. You know, bombing schools and medical facilities. You know, transportation facilities. You know, and Israel is doing all of this with the help of America, AMERIKKKA, you know, who supplies guns and bombs. So they are guilty of intentionally premeditated murder of children. You know, never forget that. Respect the fairy tales that we hear since we're 5 years old about how good and just and humane these folks are. You know, the facts on the ground are proof otherwise. So, you know, we got to think for ourselves and don't be chumps. You know, don't fall for the con game, you know, that they run on the weak, you know, and remember strong brothers like Marcellus Williams, you know, who told the truth, you know, who gave us leadership, who talked about the love of the people in his poetry, you know. And the lesson we get from this is don't, you know, in spite of rage, don't let rage make you go out there and murder innocent people. You know, don't let rage make you commit foolish acts like blowing up the World Trade Center, or shooting down innocent people in the street, you know, killing babies. You know, don't let rage do this. You know, we have to have principle struggle. You know, we have principle struggle and live by the rules. You know, America likes to claim that it came up with just rules of war, which they stole from Islam. You know, do not kill women, children, or the elders in war. You know, don't destroy no crops. You know, houses. You know, they do. You know, the poem says that they bombing residences. All that is happening. You know, we see this in the news right now. You know, so fight if you must, you know, stand up be righteous in your stand, to win over the hearts and minds of humanity to be on our side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got some serious work to do, some serious organizing to do. And we got to be very clear that what it means to organize is to make a commitment to being somewhere and to carrying out an idea. It's very simple. You got to be disciplined. You got to be focused. You got to say that I have a role to play in the bringing forth of people for a common issue, for a common cause. And I have to know that my presence is needed. Because if I don't do this work, who will, right? And I think that if the situation with this brother Marcellus Khalifa Williams was taken up more seriously, then the outcome would have been different. And it goes back to what happened with Muma Abu Jamal, and Muma Abu Jamal still has that following, and he's going to come home, right? But it's determined on how intense our demand is, right? We have to continue to make that demand. We got to continue to say his name. When we talk about reparations, we got to talk about our political prisoners. Whatever we're struggling for, we got to implement our political prisoners because they did the work. They were on the front line. They took it as far as they could take it. And we have to respect their work. And the only way that respect is really seriously taken, not by just us or the people around us, by even our oppressor, even the state, is by how committed we are to it, right? They understand how committed we are because of our consistency. So, this episode is about analyzing what happened and analyzing what we can do. There's evidence all over regarding what people can do. When we look at these union workers on striking now, right? We're looking at them fighting for better wages, fighting for a better relationship with the situation regarding what they're going to bring home, a change in what they demand as workers, right? They're not happy with the current situation. They want a different situation, and they know that they have to fight for it. But, that fight that they're choosing to take up is not a fight that is new to them. It's a fight that they learned about through research, through reading, through deciding that, it had to be done because this was the time to do it, because the situation was not going to get any better on its own. It had to be taken up by those who were directly affected. And that's the same situation with our political prisoners. Nobody is going to free them but us. And we got to do that in an organized manner. I know that when we look at situations that happen, when we look at, let's say, Odinga had came home, he had a defense committee. When I'm looking at Marcellus Khalifa Williams, you had the Innocent Project, but where was his defense committee? And that's something that we got to look at, and that's why when we hear about the Innocent Project taking up a cause, we got to look at, how much help are we providing them? Because Imam Jamil Al-Amin, he has the Innocent Project taking up his case, but it's organization like the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition and his son and their organization that's taking up the cause. So you have different people attacking the idea or fighting for the idea of a political prisoner coming home. They're doing it in different areas, and at sometimes, they come together. And that's why we have to ask ourselves, what are we committed to? Are we relying on an organization just to do the work, and we're just standing outside cheering them on, providing some consultation, or we're rolling up our sleeves and doing some work, deciding that we're going to write to a political prisoner, that we're going to do some research on political prisoners, and then we're going to write pieces on political prisoners and present them somewhere. Because like I'm always saying, and I'm always going to say it, that, whatever talents you have should be utilized for the freedom of our political prisoners. Abdul Haq Islam, I know you're a poet. That's one of many talents that you have as an artist, right? As a poet. What would you tell anybody else who possesses talents, and what ways should they utilize those talents for political prisoners?
To come up with true facts. I'm also a martial artist, and you hit somebody in the windpipe, they kind of hurt, so you, you hit them where they hurt. In your poetry, you expose facts, you expose truths. You know, Marcellus Williams, you know, he did that also, exposed truth to the people. You know, so you know, make your poetry hard hitting. You know, you know, scare them. You know, make like they didn't see no go. Oh Lord, have mercy. You know what I'm saying? You know, and be bold, audacious. You know, and tell the truth. You know, because there's a war between truth and falsehood. Without a doubt, truth is going to win. Okay, I want to. Here it is. One thing that the brother brought up was in the issue of Palestine. You dig? On the issue of Palestine, the Israel claimed that God is on their side. You know, and you know, talking about God is on their side. Also, the scripture said that that Israel also has obligations. You know, so when Israel murders babies, buries them alive, bomb schools, bomb house, you know, destroy people's housing, destroy crops, deny people water. You know, this is, you know, they done broke their covenant. They ain't got no covenant. You know, and so I want to say something about they claiming that the covenant is written in the Torah, but don't nobody know who wrote the Torah. Here it is right here. Look up who wrote the Torah. Go online and look up who wrote the Torah. And this is what you find. Who wrote the Torah is, in light of more than 2,000 years of scholarship and the ongoing disputes over that question, the most precise answer to the question is we don't know. They have no idea who wrote the Torah. The tradition claimed it was Moses, but the Torah itself says other. The Torah itself says that, you know, Moses had you know, Moses wasn't the author. Also, look up who wrote the Gospels. You know, they have no idea. You know, it wasn't God that wrote the Gospels. You know, but you know, this is a long con they run us like we 4 years old. You know, and fall for the okie doke. You know, so in the spirit of Marcellus Williams, you know, do that research. You know, and like I said before, hit them hard where it hurt the most.
Absolutely. Put your work to practice, right? Do your research and decide that you're going to do something with it. That's why we provide you the information that we provide you regarding the addresses of political prisoners. Also, we want you to get involved with the work of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. You know, we were involved with the Curve Fest. We were involved with the tabling at the International African Arts Festival. And there are a number of things that we're involved with regarding our relationship with the community, our community. Every Thursday from the hours of 6 to 8, I'm in Queensbridge with my brother Sugar Ray. He has put together a grievance support group. You know, you might have some issues that are on your mind that you want to talk to people about. You know, confidentiality is everything to us, you know, because our credibility is on the line. So we take that very seriously. I bring this up because what we're involved with is practice. Is actually to let political prisoners know we know what you stood for, and to honor you, we're out in the community continuing that particular type of work. So with that being said, we're gonna sound off. What's the call?
Free 'em all.
What's the call?
Free 'em all.
What's the call?
Free 'em all.
What's the call?
Free 'em all.